Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1, and this race for Europe is really heating up. Aston Villa now in 6th place. As things stand, they're set for Europa League football. 7th place would also get you Europa League football. Newcastle are in very good form, so it's expected they will win one of their game in hands over Villa. I'm hoping Man United beat Man City tomorrow, which will also do you guys a favour. But in today's video, we're going to break down what we learned from Aston Villa's 2-1 win over Forest. And I have to say, I really enjoyed that game as a neutral, watching two teams that have some excellent players. Nottingham Forest, unbelievable this season. I think Aston Villa, since the turn of the season, since they've had more players available, I think that's 7 wins in a row for Aston Villa. And both teams have some unbelievable players. You know, you've got Asensio and Rashford and Malen they've brought in. Asensio and Rashford have been absolutely incredible. Obviously, big Marcus Rashford fan, being a Man United fan. But players like Kamara, fantastic player. Tielemans has been ridiculous this season. I think Anana had a very good first half. Matson was very dangerous going forward. Cons is having a very underrated season. Mings has stepped up well. Morgan Rogers, I thought, was excellent today. The touch, the finish, even in his 1v1s and his duels, he's very physically good. And, you know, Villa have got some quality. You look at Nottingham Forest, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, two of my favourite players. They've got Alanga, who almost scored a really good goal. They've got Callum Hudson-Odoi. They've got, you know, Aina was out injured. Milinkovic and Murillo have been fantastic this season. You know, lots of quality there. So as a neutral, it was a really good game. But I'm going to talk about Villa in this game and sort of what we learned from this game in general, because I was really impressed with Morgan Rogers today. But what I am going to say is look at Villa. They made, I think, 8 changes or 7 changes ahead of the PSG game. PSG, I don't think have lost a game in Ligue 1. They beat Liverpool. PSG is going to be a ridiculously hard game, and you'd expect PSG to win. But players like Marcus Rashford and Asensio, I would play Marcus Rashford on the left, though he is better on the left wing in my opinion. I know he scored goals as striker, but watching him over 10 years at Manchester United, he's definitely best on the left because he likes that space to run in behind. And I think that PSG's attack is incredible. And I think if you lose control, like you did a little bit in the second half versus Forest today, PSG's attack will get you. But if you can stay compact and hit them on the break and have Marcus Rashford on that left, I think he will cause them a lot of problems. You know, Nuno Mendes is a very good 1v1, so he's going to, you know, it's going to be difficult for whoever's playing on the right. But I think defensively, that's where you're going to be able to get a PSG. Donnarumma has a mistake in him, but he is good at penalties. But I look at this, and I think Villa were allowed to make so many changes versus a third-place Nottingham Forest side. And this is a must-win game for Villa, even though they're probably resting a bit for PSG. This is a must-win game because you're chasing Europe, and you were able to like bench Konza, bench McGinn, bench Rashford, bench Ramsey, and bench Kamara. And I think Kamara, in a weird way, is almost like your most important player. I feel like when he plays, you just look better. So the fact that you were able to bench those players and go 2-0 up shows, you know, the quality and depth that Villa now have without the injuries. And Villa is this. All I think about with Villa is you invest in January, you show ambition in January, and this is what happens. 7 wins in a row. They could get Champions League. That's going to be a push, but it's on. Most definitely going to get Europa League. But I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about one of my favourite players. I said back in December, January, I said Manchester United need a player that is sort of a mix of a 10, but could play wide and could play further forward. And I said Cunha, Morgan Rogers, João Pedro. That is the profile of player that I want to see at Man United. And you're all going to be like, yeah, but Morgan Rogers is our player. Stop talking about him that you want him at Man United. And you're right. Morgan Rogers isn't going to leave Aston Villa for Manchester United. I'm quite realistic with that because we are crap. But he's my favourite profile of player in football. I'm hoping Man United get Cunha, but if we couldn't get Cunha, I would be telling Manchester United, use Rashford in that deal and go all out for Rodgers. I wouldn't want to sell Rashford, but he's fallen out of Amarin, so we have to. But he's been ridiculously good today. I think sometimes he could be a little bit selfish and decision making could be better, but that's just part of a young player. I think he's got all the fundamentals to be elite. 10 goal involvements in the last 14 games, 13th minute strike against Forest. Taking him to 22 goals and assists across all comps this season, which is ridiculous. I think he's been fantastic. And it's not just goals and assists, but it's his physical game, his dribbling, his ball carrying ability. There's so many things, 9 duels won. Forest is a physical game. 4 times possession won. He's got the athletic side, but he can win the duels and he can cover ground. He's got the speed. He's got the technical ability in tight spaces. He's got the ability to take it out wide. João Pedro, Cunha, Morgan Rogers, they're my favourite kind of players in football because they can play centrally, but they have the ball carrying ability and pace to drift wide and almost act as a winger. They've got the finishing and physical components to be a striker and the creativity and intelligence to be a 10. And if I'm Man United and I couldn't get Cunha, I'd be putting everything on a player like Morgan Rogers. I think he's a player well, maybe not this summer, but next summer, I think there's a few things that he can just refine. I wouldn't be shocked if he was the type of player where you've got a PSG or a Barcelona or Real Madrid saying, we like him. Like, I think out of all the players at Aston Villa, if then somebody that Real Madrid don't need that 10, they've got Bellingham, but if there was somebody like a Barcelona was going to knock on the door, I think it is Morgan Rogers. You know, he's entering that category. So here were my ideas. So here were my points and bullet points. So huge 3 points for Villa. Really good start. 2 goals in 15 minutes, fast. But the second half, I thought Forest were going to go back into it. I thought Forest, there was a point in that second half where Forest were destroying Villa. And I think had that been PSG, they'd have scored 2 or 3 goals because PSG are monsters. You know, Desiree Doué is unbelievable. Bradley Barcola is unbelievable. You know, Dembele's in the form of his life. He's been ridiculous this season. And that is even mentioning Kamara's Hellier, which is great. But you've got 7 wins in a row, which is huge momentum. The Champions League is possible. Europa League looks really likely. And this is just you bring in signings, Malen, Rashford, Asensio, all scoring key goals, you know, whether it be today, whether it be last week. And it makes a huge difference because your squad depth, the ability that the players you can bring on, I think in the past, there's a lot of times where Villa have gone ahead and then you've lost that lead. But I think because you've got quality to bring on, I think the last 10 minutes, I had a feeling you were going to get over the line. Whereas I thought in the 60th minute, I was like, Forest are going to get back into this. So as I said, I think Villa have taken the lead a lot early in the season. Last season, dropped off, lost control. Did you bottle it last time to Forest? Or am I thinking of somebody else? But I thought you managed to hold on just about, but you did. I thought Kamara's sub made a big difference in terms of control. I actually thought Anana had a good first half. His ground coverage was really good. But I thought Kamara, he seems to make a big difference in terms of bringing that control and stability to Villa. I thought McGinn, again, made a strong impact as well. He made some really good passes. Marcus Rashford was making some good runs and passes. And I think the last 10 minutes, Villa, they looked a bit stronger. Maybe the subs, the energy, the quality for it. But also you've got Rashford fresh. Rashford loves playing PSG. I will tell you this now. Rashford's going to love playing PSG. So yeah, I think he made 8 changes before the match. You got the job done. And I think Emery managed it well. I would say the right back, was it Garcia? Is that his name? I think I wouldn't have taken him off at half time. I think Disasi's better at centre back if I was going to be honest. But as I said earlier, the impact of those signings. And these are just my notes here. Watkins, I think, dropped off a bit and missed a few chances. I thought Maatsen looks good going forward. Kamara adds control. I thought Tielemans and Anana did work well in that first half. They found space really well. Tielemans probably been arguably your best player this season. He's been fantastic. Anana, I thought had a good first half in terms of the physicalness, but I think, and Forest is quite physical, but I think second half, Kamara was the right move. And then I just spoke about the brilliance of Morgan Rogers. It's, you know, he's got a bit of everything: finishing, dangerous 1v1, cause problems, can carry like a winger, shoot like a striker. The strength, I meant to say the strength of a centre forward, not centre mid. The creativity of a 10. He's such a player. And then yeah, these were my other talking points. Yeah, Garcia, I probably wouldn't have subbed him off. I think Villa are winning a lot of games by fine margins, and you know, I think I've not watched Villa and thought they're 100% winning this game 3-0, 4-0. I mean, I know you beat Brighton 3-0, but I feel like it's been closer sometimes than the scoreline suggests. But I think those fine margins point to the quality in the squad, getting those wins and getting those goals. And that's what the January window did. You are conceding a few chances, but you have been keeping quite a lot of clean sheets lately. I think Konsa's got like 6 clean sheets in his last 8 games or 7 games or something. He's been on good form. And yeah, I thought that Villa were pretty good. You know, 6 points from Brighton, who have been in an unbelievable form but ahead of this game. And, you know, Forest, who are 3rd in the league. That's not bad going. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.